I have almost 100 hours in the game. Do y'all want to see what I've built so far? Okay, in all seriousness, this game is incredible. If I'm being honest, I have been trying to write this video for the past week and a half to kind of give a review of my game 1 month in. But the reality is this game is so giant that I don't even really know where to begin with writing something. I don't think I could write a fair review of the game with how much I have yet to explore. I have 80 hours in the game so far, and I have barely even scratched the surface, I would say. I was absolutely expecting this game to be good, but not this good. It is actually a miracle that I was able to get my last 2 videos out with how much Pokopia has taken over in my life. Every single time I have opened up this game in handheld mode, I have played until my Switch 2 has died. Every single time. So instead of an eloquent video essay where I critique the game and do a good breakdown, I'm just gonna talk. It's gonna be a casual chat about what I think so far of the game, and I would love nothing more than to hear your thoughts in the comments on how you feel about the game. So, Pokopia is a life simulation game about crafting, creating, and building. It takes a lot of inspiration from games like Animal Crossing and Dragon Quest Builders. For a lot of people, it feels like Minecraft. So for me personally, I was going into the game expecting something kind of along those lines. A game with a fun, silly story, if any story, and a little town to decorate. That's it. That's all I was expecting. That's it. Instead, we got 5 giant areas to decorate and build up, and the most heart-wrenching story in a Pokemon game for me since playing the Mystery Dungeon games. I think a big reason why I have found Pokemon Pokopia so amazing is because I already had really high expectations, and then the game ended up exceeding those already super high expectations. So let's start with things I love about the game. First off, this game came out at such an incredible time for me because I was just not doing the greatest mentally. Pokopia has done such wonders for me lately and has really helped my brain slow down. It's just been such a staple in my night routine and a genuine part of me prioritizing me and just slowing down and working on my creativity rather than mindlessly scrolling on my phone, retaining absolutely nothing on the screen. While we're on the topic of, prioritizing ourselves, how are y'all doing? I'm doing actually pretty all right. Ever since moving to a new state and changing health insurance, both at the same time, I've been putting off many things, specifically finding new doctors and getting back into therapy. It's just very overwhelming and scary to navigate and confusing. If you are somebody who gets super anxious when it comes to scheduling appointments or talking on the phone, just know I hear you and I am with you. I am you. But I ended up using Zocdoc to find my 2 new doctors before they even reached out to me to sponsor this video, and so I'm pretty excited that they are the sponsor of this video. A few months ago, I scheduled, as I said earlier, 2 different appointments that I have been putting off for months. This website really helped me when I was really struggling. Zocdoc makes prioritizing your health a lot easier, letting you search and compare local in-network doctors. They have more than 150,000 providers within 200 plus specialties across all 50 states. And you can set up appointments super quickly, usually within 24 to 72 hours. Just last week, I had to schedule a same-day psychiatrist appointment, and I did it on Zocdoc, and it was very easy. My psychiatrist is great, and the appointment went well, despite me scheduling it last minute. Making an appointment is so easy because you can view actual patient reviews, availability, and book right on the site. No phone calls and no waiting around. And that is so huge because a lot of us, it's not that we don't want to go to the doctor, it's just the process of getting an appointment can sometimes feel like a hassle. Calling offices, being put on hold, not knowing if the doctor is even the right fit. It's definitely enough to make you avoid it altogether. It's definitely what made me avoid it. And one of the best parts about Zocdoc is it's free to use. If you are currently putting off scheduling that annual appointment, I see you. That was me. It really is hard. It's difficult. And I know it may seem small, but by clicking the link in the description, you can take a giant step towards prioritizing your health. And you will be so glad that you did. I know I am. I believe in you. You can do this. And you can go to Zocdoc.com/Arlie to instantly book a doctor's appointment with a top-rated doctor today. Thank you so much, Zocdoc, for sponsoring this video and for helping us all take better care of our health. Okay, so more things I love about this game. The story and the Pokemon. In the game, you are a Ditto who has spawned into the Kanto region, but there are no humans. You remember what your trainer looked like, but you don't know where they went or what happened. You're all alone until you run into a Tangrowth, known in the game as Professor Tangrowth. He teaches you a little bit about the basics of life and his hope for the return of humans by rebuilding the towns and repopulating the land with Pokemon. Maybe if the humans find out the world is cleaned up and looking good again, they'll come back. Easy as that. But once you're free from the tutorial aspect of the beginning game and you start to explore the game, you'll start to find little secrets like diary entries, letters, and magazines that gives you, the player, more insight into what actually happened here and where all the humans went. If I'm being totally honest, I was not expecting much of a story with this game at all. I assumed we would have some rebuilding to do, and that was that. I wasn't expecting for humans to be mentioned at all. But after I explored the bleak beach area in the game, I found out through diary entries that the humans left Earth because of a massive climate disaster that made the planet unlivable. Specifically, the professor's diary entry number 3 is what I found, which reads, "Today there was a gathering attended by Pokemon professors from every region. We had a surprising announcement in store. Increasingly intense weather abnormalities and the calamities striking each region as a result show no sign of slowing down. At this rate, predictions suggest that we will no longer be able to obtain enough food and energy to continue living on this planet. And we learned that a plan was secretly in motion to evacuate all of humanity into space. It also seemed that with a few exceptions, it will not be possible to bring Pokemon with us. Of course, some immediately raised their voices in protest, which is when we heard about the Pokemon Conservation Project. This is so crazy to me. Also, I'm reading Project Hail Mary right now, and so I was like, kind of, you know, the connection. This was the first I had read about sending humans to space, and it just came completely out of nowhere, and suddenly I was so hooked on the story. I had to know what happened to the humans and just more about the Pokemon Conservation Project, conserving the Pokemon, putting them in a PC box to just wait for the humans to one day return. And the Pokemon Conservation Project is so sad. It broke my heart reading more and more about it. In the professor's diary number 4, the professor writing this entry writes, "It was decided that we will take part in the Pokemon Conservation Project. It's a plan to safely store all of the Pokemon on the planet in a massive computer system while humanity takes refuge in space. I can't be sure that such a thing is even possible, and being parted from our Pokemon will be terribly painful, but this may be the only way that people and Pokemon will be able to live together again someday. I was also asked to join a survey team after we moved to space, but I held off on responding. After humanity relocates, a small group will be sent back to the planet to survey the environment and do maintenance on the conservation system. But given my age, I don't know if I'll be spry enough to be of much help. I think it's a task best left to the young." The idea of the survey team really gives me hope that the Pokemon and humans will eventually be reunited one day, so that's nice. And the story, while as sad as it is, does have some hope. I just really hope Ditto finds his trainer and Tangrowth finds the professor again, but for now, at least the Pokemon have each other, and that brings me great joy. I really love that the game drips information about the story through these journals and letters. It feels like a nice reward for exploration and making discoveries in the game. And I love how intense this story is compared to the lighthearted gameplay and vibe of Pokopia. The contrast is pretty big, which I think helps make the story feel more intense. And on the topic of lightheartedness, we gotta talk about the Pokemon in this game. They are super interactive, always running around, playing tag with other Pokemon and chatting. It's incredibly lively, and it's super fun to see a Pokemon like Combee interacting with Timber. Just 2 Pokemon I never thought I'd see as friends. Sometimes you can catch conversations between Pokemon, and even better, sometimes Pokemon will have unique interactions if they live nearby each other. There are so many incredible little secrets to discover between the Pokemon, like, for example, Kricketot and Diglett have unique singing dialogue if you have them living nearby interacting with each other. It's just so cute. It's so great, and I love discovering these little secrets. I also love that the Pokemon have different personalities. Venusaur is always calling me a sweetheart, and she kind of feels like my grandma in the game. Kyogre is a cowboy for some reason, and how could we forget Magikarp with the yos, the unnecessary yos. The Pokemon are just so silly and fun to talk to, and you have to talk to them quite a bit because each Pokemon has that unique personality and a trait that can help you make materials. Fire-type Pokemon are always grinding, turning my clay into bricks because I'm just a girl trying to rebuild the bleak beach. Speaking of, anybody else get super confused by this bridge? Let me know. I don't want to talk too much about the story because I don't want to spoil anyone if you still haven't finished the game, but I will say I cried. It was just so good and so touching to me. But if I could recommend anything with this game, I would say just take it slow. There is truly no rush with this game and no right way to play. Unfortunately, I felt pressured to finish the game really quickly because of how quick people are to post spoilers without any warning online. But I think the best way to play Pokopia is by working on one area at a time for a long time and discovering a bunch of new Pokemon as you go. Take your time with the game. It's gonna be quite some time before we get a mainline Pokemon game, and this is the perfect game to consume our lives until then. And while we're on the topic of Pokopia content, there's something I want to bring up, and it's how overwhelming this game can sometimes feel. And I know I'm not alone in this feeling. Sometimes I just get too overstimulated to pick up the game because there is so much to do. It gives me a bit of decision paralysis, and I feel so bad for my poor Eevee over in Pallet Town, who I have not been to see since I went there for the first time, because again, I just got so overwhelmed. When I saw Pallet Town for the first time, I was like, there's another area? How is there more game? And don't even get me started on the Sparkling Skylands. I can't do this right now. I'm not even sure if I'll ever work on that area. It is such a mess right now. I am so intimidated by the Skylands. But this pivots back to my point about taking the game slow. There is no rush. I know it can feel stressful seeing other people's builds online, and it's hard not to compare yourself. So let me once again help you feel better about yourself. I have 80 hours in this game, and I have literally built nothing. I feel like I'm constantly making materials with my Pokemon and grinding out supplies, and then I just never use them to make anything. And while we're on the topic of building, something I think that Pokopia does a really good job of is giving players a guide. Bleak Beach does this really well with unfinished bridges and homes that you can fix and build upon, or you can just completely tear it down and start from scratch. It's awesome that we get to choose. And for some players who maybe aren't so creative or good at building yet, they get a nice guide and foundation from the game. I know that I have appreciated it when it comes to building. So what else is there to talk about with my 80 hours of gameplay? I really love the controls, specifically the mouse controls. I think a lot of us underestimated the Switch 2's mouse controls, if I'm being honest. I mean, at least I know I did. Maybe I'm alone, I don't know. When I first used them for the Animal Crossing New Horizons 3.0 update, it was a game changer when it came to decorating, and it's so handy for placing down blocks in Pokopia. If you are struggling to decorate in this game, I cannot recommend using them enough. They will make things so much easier. I do wish I could use the Magnemite ability and mouse controls at the same time, but unless you can, and I just haven't figured that out yet. Please let me know if you can. I love gliding around with the Dragonite ability and rolling around as Graveler, destroying everything in my path, especially on Dream Islands. The abilities you unlock as you progress through the game are super cute and charming, and the Ditto face is just obviously incredible. I'll be honest though, once I unlocked the Magnemite ability, I didn't really find myself using a lot of the other abilities like Surf or Waterfall or Glide. The Magnet Rise ability is just so convenient compared to the others, but maybe I'm just not exploring enough, and that's why I find I'm only ever using Magnemite. One thing I don't like about the controls though is they can be a little confusing at times, and the game never tells you little secrets, unless they maybe told me at the beginning and I just don't remember them. I had to look up how to drop things out of my inventory once while on a Dream Island, and I had no idea that ZL could activate a grid lock and make building a lot easier. It also took me a long time to understand Magnemite's controls and how he works with placing things, but when I did figure it out, it became a game changer. I don't know, I was getting a little frustrated with it. Just felt like the game wasn't telling me these secrets. The game has a lot of secrets with the controls. And something else I don't love about the game is the storage. I know this is not a unique take at all. There are a lot of people talking about how bad the storage is in Pokopia, and they're right. It's really bad. I have probably 7 random chests in each area with who knows what is inside them. But if you've seen my Pokemon boxes from my Twitch streams, this probably doesn't surprise you even in the slightest. Every time I say this, people are always like, well, just watch a tutorial and organize it, girl. That's gonna take me all day. I'm already so intimidated by the game and the vastness of it. The literal last thing I wanna do is go find all of my one-off chests in each area and try to make a coherent storage. I'm honestly surprised that the storage is pretty bad when there are so many blocks that exist in the game. There are like 8 million different soils. I actually think there's only 8 or 9, but whatever. There's a lot of blocks in this game, and inventory fills up super fast for me, and even with the inventory upgrades. I have found that I basically have just started to treat my inventory as its own chest, having all the blocks and materials I need to craft at any moment without having to go through my chests of hell. That is what they're called. Chests of hell. I wish there was some sort of universal storage, sort of like the chests everywhere mod in Stardew Valley, but chests in Stardew Valley never really bothered me enough to use that mod because I only had to worry about working on my farm for the most part. So I just organized chests on my farm and it was easy. But Pokopia has so many areas to work with and so many blocks to use. There has gotta be a better way to manage inventory. My toxic trait right now is thinking we're gonna get some sort of update with the storage. I don't know. I think I'm just weirdly hopeful right now because we got the Animal Crossing 3.0 update this year. So what are your thoughts on the game and how many hours do you have? I would love to know. And most importantly, how do you feel about the storage? I'm very curious to hear about how you would fix it if you could. I'd also love to hear any and all recommendations for Pokopia videos you would like to see in the future. I don't do tutorials and I'm not a very creative builder, so I'm kind of just stuck on what to do and what videos to make. I will say if you'd like to see my entire playthrough of Pokopia, you can watch that on my Party Arlie Plays channel. And I do plan on continuing to stream the game despite, you know, not really making much progress when I do stream it. Pokopia is just the perfect game to get lost in and spend countless hours enjoying. It's almost perfect, I feel like. It's so close. So close. Thank you so much for watching, y'all. Subscribe if you want to, and I'll see you in my next video. See ya.